Welcome to the After Show for episode 91. If this is your first time tuning into this podcast, this is not the main episode. This is the boom boom beat drop of the main episode, where we talk about random topics of interest. Now, in the main episode 91, we did promise that this after show would be kind of about the future and about us deciding whether or not we're going to stay in Korea or not.
Yeah.
And Josh, even, you came over to record this weekend, and instead of recording the actual episode, we spent like 2 to 3 hours
just talking
because we
about everything, about the future of the podcast, the future of our lives, and a lot of things. So,
and we didn't really reach any conclusions.
Yeah, nothing finite.
Yeah. Now we will have to be relatively finite soon. But we're going to change the topic of the after show. So this after show is going to be, as you probably know from the title, but is, we did a 21 kind of retrospective when we found out that
Minzy was leaving.
Yeah.
Or she might leave. I think at that time we didn't really know. But,
she definitely gone now. But we got news maybe a week ago or 4 or 5 days ago that Gia from Miss A decided not to renew her contract.
Yeah.
And so she is out of there, of that Miss A.
Yeah. And at the time when we first found out, it was both Gia and Faye, both the Chinese members were going to leave, but Faye decided to resign. And Gia is definitely gone, for sure.
I mean, I don't know if it's worded like that. Like, I don't think they were both going to not resign.
They're both of their contracts were up for
both of their contract ended this year.
Yeah.
And Faye decided to resign.
Yeah.
Gia was like, fuck that shit.
Peace out.
I'm out.
Yeah.
And of course, Suzy and Min's contracts end next year.
Yeah.
So they didn't even have a choice.
Yeah.
And so all we know now is that JYP was like, we're just going to let the remaining 3 members kind of focus on solo activities.
Yeah.
Which
kind of worrisome, actually, if you're a Miss A fan, right? You don't want to ever hear focus on solo activities, right?
You definitely don't want to hear it.
No.
But I do think of all groups, Miss A has not done much in the past 2 years, very similarly to 21, actually.
They have been focusing on their solo activities until this point.
They've been full solo for quite a while with the occasional reunion,
which is probably the reason why Gia left. We don't really know. We're speculating, but it's a good guess.
It's kind of crazy how similar this situation is to the 21 situation.
Yeah.
Granted, that one was like there were drug problems and rumors, and that's why they couldn't. Supposedly couldn't come back.
Yeah.
And for Miss A, it's kind of
just not active as much as solo-wise for Miss A.
Yeah, I don't know how true it is, but I've always assumed it was because Suzy was just so busy that they couldn't get them all together.
Yeah.
And just like Minzy, who you're sitting around not really doing much.
Yeah, like Miss A is like your main thing, and you're not really doing anything as your main thing. Of course, you want to be doing things.
You want to be doing things. Because I think, of course Suzy is crazy busy.
Yeah.
Although in the last couple of years, she's been heavily supplanted by like Sohyun.
Yeah.
In like every advertisement all over the place, all over Korea.
Yeah, I remember saying that a while back, and someone thought I was crazy.
Yeah.
But I was like, no, you just wait. And there it is.
Yeah. But, Suzy's now kind of famous enough that she'll do like one drama every year, every other year. And she's kind of, I know she does some other, but all is that to say that, the other members of Miss A aren't super active as far as I know. I mean, I know that, Faye does has been doing a decent amount.
Yeah.
Either like in China or now in Korea.
Yeah.
Min has never done that much as far as I can tell.
There was huge rumors that she was going to put out a solo project, but like everyone was kind of just holding their breath, right?
Yeah.
It never really happened.
And Gia, of course, also never really did too much of anything.
I mean, comparatively to like Suzy, who's just busy around the clock, right?
Right.
And that... Miss A has gotten a lot of flack for that reason. Everybody thought, Suzy doesn't care about Miss A. All she does is, she's famous enough now. She doesn't have to promote with Miss A. We don't know how true that is, but it's definitely adding like fuel to that fire of like, Suzy is like
Yeah.
not cool for members. But I mean, that's definitely a possibility. We don't know. We're not behind the scenes, so.
And I also remember a lot of people like because they skipped the entirety of 2014.
Yeah, they didn't release anything, I don't think.
And they released only one song last year, right?
Yeah.
And I think one song in 2013. But they were saying how like, well, you know, why is JYP doing this, right? We want Miss A. And everyone's like, well, Suzy makes way more money. She's like the breadwinner of JYP. But then I remember that year JYP was like, you guys are all wrong because
2 p.m.
actually makes the most money for the company. So, you know, all this, we should have said this earlier. Forgot to do it, which is that like the 21 retrospective, neither one of us are huge diehard Miss A fans.
Yeah, we can't call ourselves what are they, say A's? I think the group like we're not Miss A fans. We did enjoy a lot of their music, and we have been listening to them for a long time because we have listened to K-pop for a long time. And this is purely from not necessarily an outsider's perspective, but it's our experience with Miss A.
Yeah, we just kind of want to talk about our personal experience. Like maybe you love every one of Miss A songs, and that's great, right? That's amazing. Just don't get mad when we don't feel the same way because we're our own people, and we're not making this to be like Miss A sucked and we fucking hated Miss A and that's obviously not what we're going to do here. But we just want to talk about our experience. So I do want to start with kind of background of like how you first discovered Miss A.
Okay. For me, I discovered Miss A kind of by accident. When you're kind of deep into K-pop, you do search for a lot of different types of groups, and Miss A was one of the groups that I came across. I can't remember if it was like one single song at that time that really drew me to them, but I kind of just like liked pretty much all their songs decently well. And that's pretty much just I came across Miss A because I was a fan of K-pop.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I was very similar. It's just that, as longtime listeners know, my favorite group of all time was the Wonder Girls. Wonder Girls, of course, JYP. So when JYP was like, yo, we got a new girl group coming out, I was like, oh no, I gotta check.
Yeah, and everyone was calling them the Chinese Wonder Girls at that time, right? Like before they even had a name.
Yeah, well, at least the duo of Faye
and Gia,
and then I remember when the Bad Girl, Good Girl came out, I was like, oh, this is totally different than what the Wonder Girls were kind of doing at the time. And so I was like, we used to, I think, brag kind of about JYP and how like all of his groups have like different sounds and they're so different. And like going through this kind of like backlog of Miss A songs, like you really remember just how big JYP used to be.
Yeah. And how far they've kind of like dwindled from that.
Yeah.
Strayed from that.
This year he's definitely crawled up this year. Like by far. I mean, you have GOT7 finally becoming popular in Korea. Yeah. They've always been very popular internationally. Yeah. And trying to bury my lead. I was getting there. And twice.
Yeah.
Who just recently broke the record for longest #1 song on the Melon chart.
Did not know that.
I don't know if it was of all time or if it was just in recent time, but I think they broke the previous record holder. I think was G-Friend
with Rough.
I can't remember if it was Rough or if it was for Anal B, but I'm pretty sure it was Rough.
I'm pretty sure it's Rough. Yeah.
So anyways, he's definitely coming back.
He's definitely coming back, yeah.
But let's go back and let's talk about kind of... we're going to go song by song, mainly because Miss A has not released that many singles.
Yeah.
And neither one of us, I think, were ever so into Miss A that we were listening to all of their albums.
I don't think so.
I'm sure there are some good kind of B-side songs and stuff, but... in kind of reviewing and preparing for this, we didn't really listen to them. We only listened to
the main songs,
their main singles.
The main singles, yeah.
And it's crazy to me, but they've only released eight singles in 6 years.
Yeah, wow, that's pretty crazy, right? When you think about it.
Yeah, like I'm trying to think. Like I think AOA. I think I looked it up. AOA released maybe like 10 singles in 4 years, or or 11 and 12 if you include like Moya and I'm Jelly Baby.
Yeah.
Like
all the side.
Yeah, all the subunits. Like Miss A is not. I mean, as we said, they skipped over 2014.
Yeah, Miss A, I don't think has ever really had a subunit. They really haven't had any like solo things besides just OSTs or
random ballads.
Yeah,
Suzy will bust out that random ballad every once in a while, like the one with Baekhyun.
Yeah,
that everybody and their mom in Korea loved, but we were both like it's a ballad.
It's whatever.
It was a ballad.
Yeah.
But you get super popular EXO and you get super popular Suzy, and they could barf on the track and still get like 100 million views.